Hey, you're looking at some gameplay from April 21st of 2020. This was over 2 years ago when I finally managed to get into this game after so many years of trying it over and over and over again. So yeah, I don't have any gameplay that I haven't already used. That isn't complete shit, so this is just some random gameplay I took when I first started playing the game. I don't know why I was recording so much gameplay this early on. I guess I was really like, yeah, I'm getting into this game now. I don't fucking know. I'll have to talk to I'll have to invent a time machine and go talk to myself 2 years ago to figure out why the fuck I did this. But anyway, yeah, Guild Wars 3. MMObyte made a video today talking about it, and a job posting that came up for ArenaNet. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I saw it on the Reddit, and I didn't really think much of it. It was like an unannounced game, that's all I saw, and I was like, oh shit, here we go again, because Guild Wars a few years ago, they're supposed to have some sort of Guild Wars mobile game, and then like another game they were doing, and those ended up getting canceled. ArenaNet had a pretty big layoff. It just was not good. But for the looks of things, or by the looks of things, this is certainly Guild Wars 3. They're talking about how it's already an established multiplayer, like fantasy, thing they've done before, in a franchise they've done before. That's Guild Wars, alright? It's gonna be Guild Wars 3. I would have been like, maybe it'll be another fantasy MMO that's different, until they mentioned the established part, and I was like, oh, okay, it's in pre-production. So if this is Guild Wars 3, it is in pre-production right now, which makes sense because they're probably already working on the next and presumably final expansion for Guild Wars 2. That feels so weird to say. That will probably be coming out in another 2 years, or a little under 2 years now. But maybe about a year and a half at this point. So yeah, pretty good news. We might not even get Living World Season 6. They might just say fuck it and just put out the next expansion sooner. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I was expecting to see some sort of Living World Season 6, but considering that they're working on Season 1, it could be a possibility that we might not even see Season 6, and we could get the expansion late next year. I don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do. The future of the game is relatively uncertain. We do know, obviously, we're getting another expansion. They announced that very early on into End of Dragon's lifespan, just to kind of reassure people that this isn't the end. They were doing that before, but they really wanted to reassure people, yeah, there's another one coming, which is definitely very, very exciting. I see that as being the end of Guild Wars 2, to me, I mean, from what I'm saying. And I'm very excited to move on in another, probably, presumably, like 4 to 6 years, I would say. In between that time, we'll get Guild Wars 3, if not a little longer. And it's going to be rough. I mean, getting another expansion, and then presumably, I've said it all the time in this video, but probably being put on maintenance mode for a while. It's going to be rough, man. It's going to be real rough having that. I'm definitely still going to play the game quite a bit, but, man, it's going to be fucking rough, going through that. But yet again, I played the game throughout, like, 2 years straight, and, even throughout a bunch of content droughts, I still love the game. And I still play the shit out of it. I almost have 2,000 hours on the game. So yeah, in terms of, like, what I think about Guild Wars 3, I think it's a great thing. I'm very excited for it. I'm really hoping they take this as a chance to reset the cosmetics of the game, and go back to a more grounded, traditional fantasy style, instead of having these ridiculously shiny, flashy skins all over the place. I purposely put my character quality, like, models and stuff on the lowest possible, so that way you don't see the ridiculously shiny infusions and outfits and stuff like that I find to be really annoying. As well as, now we have mechs, and we have New Kaineng City, and Jade Tech, and a bunch of things that just don't really feel like they fit within this fantasy universe. They just feel so odd and weird to have. Yeah, we had some stretches before, like golems, but I don't know. I just think they've really gone way too far with End of Dragons in terms of just the craziness of having all this shit. I just find it to be so weird and kind of out of place. And I'm just excited to get a completely new game, have completely new experiences. Traditionally, like, we would just have an expansion, people would play for a few weeks, and then just be done after that. But now it's going to be, a whole new game to play. I mean, I remember playing Guild Wars 2, just the core game. There was so much content to do. It was a ridiculous amount of content in the core game alone. And it was praised for that at the time. There's a ton of content. You know, leveling, and obviously endgame was a little dry back then, but you know, it still is fantastic. Just the amount of shit there is to do is really, really awesome in the core game. And as like a casual player, I fucking loved it. I thought the core game, in my opinion, is still the best part of Guild Wars 2. The core game is seriously fucking fantastic. The expansions are great. I think Path to Fire is probably the best one they put out. But, you know, this one was pretty, like, core game was definitely my favorite. So to hopefully get that kind of experience again is very exciting. And I'm very optimistic moving forward about a sequel to Guild Wars 2. And whatever they decide to do, it'll be pretty cool. One concerning point I do have is the fact that they mentioned in the post saying that it's going to be multi-platform. This, with some of the recent stuff that's gone on within role-playing games and all that, with, you know, mobile games disguising themselves as PC games and stuff like that, or they have it on mobile, it's developed for mobile, but then they port it to, you know, PC and console because they're trying to reach a wider audience, right? So we saw that originally. I think that's what they started the trend originally. I think with like Genshin Impact, and then most recently Diablo Immortal. We saw it with that, and so I'm really hoping we don't go this route for Guild Wars 3, because certainly that would basically kill the franchise at that point, which would be incredibly sad, as there is no other game like Guild Wars 2 in the genre. There's just simply no other game that provides this much open world content to do. There just isn't, and the MMORPG genre there just isn't. So if if Guild Wars was fucked, I don't think I would play MMOs at all at that point. I maybe would play a little bit, but I probably would only, the closest thing I would play is like Destiny, and that's more like an MMO light. So, you know, cheers to them not fucking it up, hopefully. I really hope so, because Guild Wars 2 is in a fantastic spot. There's so much fun content to do, and I really don't want to see Guild Wars 3 come out and then it just be a huge downgrade from Guild Wars 2. And I'm getting, you know, this is partially not fair, because I'm getting this sort of experience from other games like Destiny 2. You know, like when Destiny 2 first launched, it was a massive downgrade from Destiny 1. We had to wait an entire year with the Forsaken expansion for it to even get somewhat good. It was very, 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 very sad. It was a terrible time for Destiny 2. And I'm just really hoping that with Guild Wars 3, or whatever it's going to be called, that we just don't see this. And hopefully they'll do a better marketing job with the game. And just hopefully the game will have a bigger player base and stuff. I'm assuming it will be, because it's probably going to be on consoles too, which is great on one hand, right? Because we have more players. It's presumably, God damn, I said it again. I would think it would be crossplay. You know, Sony seems to be more on board with crossplay nowadays, so hopefully we would see that kind of thing. But the one thing I am worried about is the potential of the game being limited by consoles. Now, Guild Wars is a PC-only game, but it's always been PC-only. We've never had it on consoles, so we haven't had to worry about the limitations of console hardware that games like, you know, other PC games have to worry about. Even like Elder Scrolls Online, to a certain extent, has to worry about that, even though they're separate player bases, because they want continuity. So, yeah, I just am really worried that the game will be held back, which it almost certainly will be if it is coming out on consoles, which is worrying. You know, as a PC gamer, it's something that I'm not a fan of. I play both PC and console, but PC is my home for MMORPGs to play. But yeah, so hopefully they don't fuck this up, but overall, I am very optimistic about the idea of Guild Wars 3. And I definitely trust and have faith in ArenaNet to pull this off. Because Guild Wars 1 they pulled it off, Guild Wars 2 they pulled it off. Both core games are really, really solid and do what they do in a really, really good way. And I'm very excited to see what sort of innovations they bring. Guild Wars 2 massively innovated on the genre, and it's pretty impressive because they did so much good shit that other games just straight have not copied. And the only thing that we've really seen is dynamic events going into World of Warcraft with World Quests, and the mounts going into World of Warcraft. But that's not really from the core game. But yeah, so that's basically going to cover the video. Guild Wars 3, very excited, but also in the back of my head is like, I do not want this to be fucked up because it would kill the franchise. I mean, let's be real, having a new game, not supporting the old one, and if it sucked ass, it would definitely kill the fucking franchise for a lot of people. And it would be a very, very rough time to have that. So, yeah, that's gonna cover it. Peace.